All right, Shalom, Israel, with the Israelite School University of Practical Knowledge, started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohanan, and we're not affiliated with any other Israelite group nor any other Christian organization. All right, so this is the Lashawan Qadash class, all right, the Lashawan Qadash class. Very, very important class to attend, all right, but we're going to get right into it. Now we're going to have to get right into it, all right? Starting a little late, Salaki about that, but we're going to get right into the class. All right, the Lashawan Qadash, meaning the holy tongue, very important to learn. Like every Black, Hispanic, and Native American, we need to understand how to speak the language. We need to learn how to speak the Lashawan Qadash, all right? And so real quick, real briefly, we're going to go ahead, let me go ahead and title this. We're going to talk about object pronouns. All right, we're going to talk about object pronouns. So if you guys last week we went over subject pronouns. This week we're going to go over object pronouns, and then next week we're going to get into possessive pronouns. Pronouns. This is all in the benefit. This is all to work towards something called sentence structuring. This is all about learning how to basically structure sentences. All right. We need, in the Hebrew, we need to learn how to structure sentences. We need to learn how to speak to each other in Hebrew because this is our language. This is a part of our culture. All right. Learning the Hebrew, learning the Lashawan Qadash is something very important. It's a part of our culture. It's a part of who we are. All right. We cannot just ignore it. And so before we get there, we're going to get to it. First, we're going to go over the alphabet real quick. Make sure everybody can see it. Also, don't forget to put your name, city, and state. Don't forget to check in and sign in. All right, make sure you put your name, city, and state for class. All right. All right. So real quick, going over the alphabet. Now, the reason why we're going over the alphabet, we're going to go over it every class because the alphabet is going to help you. It's going to help us learn this language. Like fundamentals is everything. You want to learn the fundamentals of a language. You want to learn the basics of a language. And when it comes to learning the Hebrew, learning the alphabet itself is learning the basics, right, and the simple things, right, and the fundamentals of the language. Why? Because our alphabet is exactly how our words are going to sound. The way you're going to pronounce our alphabet is exactly how we're going to pronounce those letters in the words we're going to create in structure, and eventually the sentences we're going to create in structure. Like the Hebrew language is a well, it's not phonetic technically. Well, it is phonetic technically, but the word I'm looking for, our language is similar. It's a consonant language. There we go. It's a consonant language. So our letters and our words, they all sound the same with a similar sound. It's not like in English where you have different letters next to each other and they make different sounds. Our language is not set up like that. Our language is set up to be consonant, meaning they all sound the same, similar. It's like they sound very similar. And so now we have your I. This is what your I looks like in the Assyrian. This is what your I looks like in the ancient. It's pronounced as I. This is what your Ba looks like. This is your Ba in the Assyrian. This is your Ba in the ancient. It's pronounced as Ba. Ba. All right. Then you have your Ga. All right. Your Ga. This is your Ga in the Assyrian. This is your Ga in the ancient. All right. It's pronounced as Ga. Then you have your Da. All right, your Da in the Assyrian. Then you have your Da in the ancient, pronounced as Da. All right. You have your Ha in the Assyrian. Then you have your Ha in the ancient. All right. This is your Ha in the Assyrian. This is your Ha in the ancient. You have your Wa in the Assyrian. Then you have your Wa in the ancient. This is what your Wa looks like in the Assyrian and the ancient. All right. Then you have your Za. This is what your Za looks like in the Assyrian. This is what your Za looks like in the ancient. It's pronounced as Za. You see how it has a consonant sound, meaning a very similar sound. Like this is how we pronounce our language. Like this is how we write and read our language. All right. I want y'all to pay very close attention to everything. Like this is very important for us to learn. All right. This is your Cha. This is your Cha in the Assyrian, and this is your Cha in the ancient. This is what your Cha looks like in the Assyrian. This is what your Cha looks like in the ancient. It's pronounced as Cha. It's almost like you're trying to cough a belugi, right? Your Cha, your Cha, your Cha, right? Then you have your Ta in the Assyrian, and you have your Ta in the ancient. So your Ta in the Assyrian, your Ta in the ancient. Pronounced as Ta. All right, Ta. All right, this is pronounced as Ta. You see the similar sound? Now you have your Ya in the Assyrian, then you have your Ya in the ancient, pronounced as Ya. All right, your Ya, pronounced as Ya. You have your Ka in the Assyrian, then you have your Ka in the ancient. Now, when you look under the Assyrian, you see the word Assyrian, right? And you see your Ka. All right, you have a Ka on the right, and you have your Ka on the left. The Ka on the right, that's the Ka that you're going to see in the beginning or in the middle of a sentence. But let's focus on that Ka on the left. That Ka is only found at the end of a word. So you know that this is the Ka, right? You know this is a Ka because it's located at the end of a word and it looks just like this. So when you see a letter that looks similar like this in the Assyrian, just know it's a Ka. Then you have your La. You have your La in the Assyrian, and then you have your La in the ancient. Now here we go. You have your Ma in the Assyrian, you have your Ma in the ancient. And let's focus on the Ma on the left. Once again, this is the Ma that you're going to find at the end of a word. Because now you know that this word ends with a Ma. When you see a letter looking just like this in the Hebrew, now you know that this is your letter. Now you know that this is the end of the word that you are reading. That's it. There's no more of it. Ma. All right? Now it's Ma. Then you have your Na. You have your Na in the Assyrian. Now you have your Na in the ancient. If you look very closely, your Na, your Na on the left. Once again, your Na on the left is only found at the end of a word. All right. This is what your La is going to look like at the end of the word. All right. Then you have your Sa. This is your Sa in the Assyrian, and this is your Sa in the ancient. Here we go. We have the letter I. All right, this is the only word in the Hebrew that sounds different from everything else because this is where it originally comes from. The letter I comes from the Hebrew language. So you have your letter I. Literally, you see how in the ancient it's like a circle? Because before the Hebrew was characteristic, it was pictographic. And to say the letter I, it was literally the picture of an eye because that's where the word I comes from. It comes from our language, all right? So you have your I in the Assyrian, and now you have your I in the ancient. Here we go. Here's your Pa. You have your Pa in the Assyrian, and you have your Pa in the ancient. If you look very closely, I want you to focus on the Pa on the left under the Assyrian. Once again, it's found at the end of a word. This is what the Pa is going to look like at the end of a word only. Then you have your Tazah. You have your Tazah in the Assyrian. Then you have your Tazah in the ancient. If you look very closely, you see that Tazah? That Tazah on the left. Once again, that's what your Tazah is going to look like in the Assyrian when it's found at the end of a word. So I want you guys to pay very close attention to these details, all right? Especially the Assyrian. Pay very close attention to the alphabet, all right, in the Assyrian script because most of our records now are written in the Assyrian script. So we're going to have to learn these things, all right? Then you have your Qua. You have your Qua in the Assyrian, then you have your Qua in the ancient. So your Qua in the Assyrian, your Qua in the ancient, all right? You have your Ra in the Assyrian, and now you have your Ra in the ancient. Your Ra in the Assyrian, your Ra in the ancient. Let's get the rest of it. Next we have is our Shah. Your Shah. You have your Shah in the Assyrian, and you have your Shah in the ancient. It's your Shah. All right. Now you have your Tha. You have your Tha in the Assyrian, and you have your Tha in the ancient. All right, here's the Tha and the Assyrian, the Tha and the ancients. I want you guys to pay very close attention to these details. If you guys have any questions, don't forget to put it into the live chat. Also, don't forget, if you're tuning in the class, don't forget to put your name, city, and state, all right? You want to put your name, city, and state. And so, we're going to get into it. All right. So, let's see. So, we left off using subject pronoun. So, we left off subject pronouns. So, here's a recap of subject pronouns. Now, let's get object pronouns. You want to get, don't forget to put your name, city, and state too as well. All right. So you got your object pronoun so far. All right. So the first subject pronoun we're going to get, all right, is a ya. So a lot of these things, all right, are going to have an ancient and an Assyrian. So I want you to see they all look in both. We're going to have to recognize, right? We're going to have to recognize all of this. All right. So you got your Assyrian. The first thing we're going to get is your ya. Going to get your ya. In the Assyrian, we're going to get your ya in the ancient. So what we have here is your ya. The first object pronoun that we got so far is your ya. All right, and this is your ya in the Syrian, and this is your ya in the ancient. And your ya equals me. All right, your ya is me. That's the object pronoun me. And remember, object pronouns will always be at the end of a verb. All right, so this is always going to be in conjunction. All right, with always in conjunction with a verb. All right, will always be at the end of a verb. All right, unless unless when we get a little bit more advanced, we're going to talk about how object pronouns are used with the word I. All right, but that's going to be a lesson within its own. It's going to look just like this, but we're going to focus with object pronouns using using I. All right, and how that's displayed. Okay, and those are direct objects, verbs being used with direct objects. All right, and that'll be underneath object pronouns too, just in a more advanced lesson. All right. Next, next we have is our ka. All right, this is your ka. All right, you have your Assyrian. This is your ka in the Assyrian. And this is your ka in the ancient. This is an object pronoun. Object pronouns will always be at the end of a verb. At the end of a verb. Next you have is your wa. There you go. So now, this is your what. This is your what in the Syrian. This is your what in the ancient. Your what is an object pronoun of them. Now remember, object pronouns will always be at the end of a verb. That's very important. Don't forget that. It will always be found at the end of a verb. Next, you have your ha. And now you have your ha. You have your ha in the Assyrian, and you have your ha in the ancient. Your ha as an object pronoun is her. Right now, remember, I want y'all to pay very close attention to the details. Object pronouns will always be at the end of a word. All right? Next, so you got your Noah. You know what? All right. You know what? Now this is your na in the Assyrian. This is your wa. You put it together, you get nawa. Nawa. This is your na and this is your wa. You put that together, you get nawa. Nawa equals us. Us is an object pronoun. All right. Us is an object pronoun. And when you put that object pronoun together, you get object pronouns will always be at the end of a verb. So when you put nawa together, you get this is us as an object pronoun. This is us as an object pronoun. Nawa is us. All right. In the English, nawa is us. Nawa in the Syrian, nawa in the ancient. Remember the detail that object pronoun will always be at the end of a verb. We cannot forget that. All right. So let's look here. All right. So next, what we got is your comma. All right. What we have here is your comma. So this is your kam in the Syrian. This is your ka in your ma. This is your ka and your ma in the ancient. And you put that together, you get kam. So if you put all these together, you get kam, which equals y'all or you all or you plural. Remember, this is an object pronoun. So object pronouns will always be at the end of a verb. All right, at the end of a verb. Do not forget that. Next we have is our con. So this is your ka in the Syrian, and this is your na in the Syrian. This is your ka in the ancient, this is your na in the ancient. So when you put that together, you get con. Your con is y'all or you all, you plural, but in the feminine tense. So when we go back to the object pronoun, con, all right, this is in the masculine tense. So you have a masculine tense, and then you have a feminine tense. So when you're addressing you all or y'all in the feminine or to a group of sisters, whatever the case may be, this is what you want to use. If you're referring to you all or y'all or you plural to a group of brothers, this is what you want to use. All right. Pay very close attention to those details. Those details are going to help us learn this language properly. All right. All right. All right. So now we have Yahan. Now this is Yahan. All right. This is Yahah in the Assyrian. This is Yama in the Assyrian. This is Yahah in the ancient. This is Yama in the ancient. All right. Now remember, pay very close attention to this right here. This is a very important detail. Remember, these are talking about object pronouns. So object pronouns will always be at the end of a verb. Now that's something very important. Will always be at the end of a verb. And this is Yahan, which means them as well, but in the feminine. This is Han in the feminine. The detail. Now this is Han. This is Yahah in the same. This is Yana. This is Yahah. All right, and this is Ma. Not here. There we go. So this is your na. All right, this is your na. So you got your ham. This is your han. So your han. This is your ha in the Assyrian. This is your na in the Assyrian. This is your ha in the ancient, and this is what your na looks like in the ancient. If you put them together, you get han, which is them in the feminine sense. Now remember, pay close attention to that very important detail. The important detail is object pronouns will always be at the end of a verb. Object pronouns will always be at the end of a verb. All right, I want to pay very close attention to that. All right, very close attention. Now, with that being said, I say Shalom Israel, Israel, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group or any other Christian organization. With that, I say Shalom.